If you are still watching right now, there is a reason. Something in the back of your mind is already doing the math. You are thinking about that last tax bill. You are thinking about how costs keep rising while your income stays the same. You are wondering whether you have been paying more than you should and feeling a little frustrated that nobody ever sat you down and explained this clearly. That frustration is valid because the truth is, this information exists. It has always existed. It was just never put in front of you in plain language. That stops right now. By the time this video ends, you are going to know exactly what form to file, exactly who qualifies, and exactly how much money you may have been leaving on the table every single year without realizing it. So do not click away. What comes next is the part that actually matters. Let me ask you something important. What if there was a government form, already approved, already legal, already sitting in a filing cabinet somewhere in your county office, that could cut your property tax bill by hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars every single year? Not a loophole, not a scam, not something a slick salesman invented last week, a real, legitimate form, backed by state law, designed specifically for homeowners like you. And what if 92% of the seniors who qualify for it have never once filed it? That number is not an exaggeration. Study after study, county after county, the data keeps showing the same thing. Older homeowners, people who have paid their taxes faithfully for decades, are quietly overpaying every single year, not because they did anything wrong, but because nobody told them this form existed. Here's what makes this even harder to accept. The government is not required to tell you about it. Your mortgage company won't mention it. And in most states, if you don't file it yourself, you simply don't get it. The savings don't come to you automatically. They never have. So the question isn't whether this form could help you. For most senior homeowners, it absolutely can. The real question is, how many years have you already missed? Because here's the truth most people don't want to say out loud. Every year you go without filing this form is another year you hand over money you were legally allowed to keep. Money that could have covered prescription costs, utility bills, groceries, a little extra comfort in retirement. And it gets worse. In some counties, you can actually go back and recover past overpayments, but only if you act before a deadline most people don't even know about. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what this form is, who qualifies, where to find it, and what it can do for your property tax bill starting right now. Stay with me. This one is worth every minute. If you own your home and you are 65 or older, this video was made for you. Not for investors, not for corporations, not for people with teams of accountants and tax attorneys on speed dial. This is for the retired school teacher who worked 30 years and now lives on a fixed income. For the widower who stayed in the same house for 4 decades and watches every dollar carefully. For the couple who did everything right, paid off the mortgage, raised their children, saved what they could, and now feels the pressure of rising costs squeezing tighter every single year. Property taxes are one of the cruelest financial realities of retirement. You paid off your home, you own it outright, and yet every year that tax bill shows up in the mailbox like clockwork. And every year in most counties across America, that bill gets a little bit higher. Between 2020 and 2024, property tax bills rose an average of 26% across the United States. In some states, the increases were even more dramatic. Texas, Florida, Illinois, Georgia. Homeowners opened their tax notices and felt their stomachs drop. But here's what most people in that situation don't realize. There is an entire category of property tax relief written into law specifically to protect senior homeowners from exactly this kind of pressure. It goes by different names depending on where you live. Homestead exemption, senior freeze, circuit breaker credit, property tax deferral. The names change, the forms change, but the purpose is the same: to protect older Americans who have already contributed to their communities, who have already paid in for decades, from being taxed out of their own homes. And yet the people who need this relief the most are the ones least likely to know it exists. That is not an accident of education. It is a failure of communication. One that costs senior homeowners billions of dollars every single year. You deserve to know what's available to you, and today you're going to find out. Let me paint you a picture that might feel familiar. Margaret is 71 years old. She lives in the same house she and her husband bought in 1987. Her husband passed 3 years ago, and now she manages everything on her own, on a Social Security check and a small pension that hasn't grown in years. Every fall, her property tax bill arrives, and every fall, it's a little higher than the year before. Last year, it was $4,200. She paid it, because that's what she always does. She is responsible, she is disciplined, she does not ask for handouts. What Margaret doesn't know, what nobody ever told her, is that her county offers a senior homestead exemption that would reduce her assessed home value by $50,000 for tax purposes. In her tax bracket, that's roughly $900 back in her pocket every single year. There's also a senior freeze program she qualifies for, one that would lock her property tax rate at what it was the year she turned 65, meaning all those increases she's been absorbing for the past 6 years, she never had to pay most of them. Over 6 years, Margaret has overpaid by an estimated $4,000 to $5,000, not because she was careless, not because she was uninformed in any other area of life, simply because the system was never designed to reach out and tell her. And Margaret is not alone. Across America, there are millions of seniors in the exact same position, quietly overpaying, quietly absorbing increases, quietly wondering how they will keep up as costs rise and income stays flat. But here's where it gets worse. Many of these programs have income limits that are surprisingly generous. Some go up to $75,000 or even $85,000 in annual household income. That means this isn't just for people living at the poverty line. Middle-income retirees, people who feel too comfortable to ask for help but too stretched to feel secure, often qualify and never know it. And the deadline problem is real. Most counties require you to file before a specific date, often March 1st or April 1st of the tax year. Miss that window and you wait another full year. Another full year of overpaying. Some people miss it 5 years in a row, 10 years. Some miss it their entire retirement. The money doesn't disappear into thin air, it just stays with the county instead of staying with you. This is not a new idea, and it is not a fringe program hiding in the fine print of some obscure policy manual. Senior property tax relief has been written into American law for decades. It started gaining real momentum in the 1970s when lawmakers began recognizing a troubling pattern. Older Americans on fixed incomes were being forced out of their homes, not because they couldn't afford the mortgage, not because they had made bad financial decisions, but simply because rising property taxes made staying impossible. Congress took notice, state legislatures took notice, and one by one, states began building protections into their tax codes specifically designed to keep senior homeowners in their homes. Today, all 50 states offer some form of property tax relief for older homeowners. Every single one. Some states are more generous than others. Some programs are broader, some require more documentation. But the foundation is the same everywhere. A legal recognition that seniors who have spent decades contributing to their communities deserve protection from being taxed into financial hardship. The problem was never the law. The problem was always awareness. A 2022 study conducted by the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy found that property tax relief programs across the country are dramatically underutilized. In some states, fewer than 1 in 4 eligible seniors had enrolled in available programs. In certain counties, participation rates were even lower. The researchers didn't blame laziness or indifference. They blamed complexity. They blamed poor outreach. They blamed a system that puts the entire burden of discovery on the very people it was designed to help. And the financial stakes have never been higher. The National Council on Aging estimates that American seniors collectively leave over $27 billion in unclaimed benefits and tax relief on the table every single year. $27 billion. That is not a rounding error. That is a generational failure of communication. And in the years since the pandemic, the problem has accelerated. Home values surged dramatically between 2020 and 2023. When home values go up, assessed values go up. When assessed values go up, tax bills go up. Millions of seniors watch their property tax bills climb to levels they never anticipated when they planned their retirement budgets. What most people don't realize is that the relief programs were specifically expanded in many states during this period to respond to exactly that pressure. New income thresholds were added, new freeze provisions were introduced, some states quietly doubled the exemption amounts available to seniors. The programs got better, the outreach did not. So right now today, in 2025, there are more senior homeowners eligible for meaningful property tax relief than at any point in the last 30 years. And the majority of them still haven't filed the form. So let's talk about the form itself. The one that most senior homeowners have never filed. The one that can start cutting your property tax bill as soon as next year, sometimes even this year if you move quickly enough. It is called the homestead exemption application. In some states, it carries a slightly different name: Senior Citizen Assessment Freeze, Property Tax Credit Application, Senior Valuation Protection Form. The title varies by state and county, but the function is the same. When you file this form, you are officially notifying your local tax authority that you are a qualifying senior homeowner who is entitled to a reduction in how your property is assessed or taxed under state law. And here is what that actually means in real dollars. In Illinois, the Senior Citizens Assessment Freeze Homestead Exemption can lock your assessed value at the level it was when you first qualified. If your home's assessed value has climbed $80,000 since then, which is not unusual in the current market, you are essentially shielded from taxes on that entire increase. In Florida, the senior homestead exemption adds an additional exemption on top of the standard one, up to $50,000 in some counties, for homeowners 65 and older who meet the income threshold. In Texas, seniors 65 and older receive an automatic $10,000 school district tax exemption on top of the standard homestead exemption, but you still have to file to activate it. In Georgia, homeowners 62 and older may qualify for a school tax exemption that removes the school portion of their property tax entirely. In many counties, that school portion represents 60% or more of the total bill. Let that sink in for a moment. 60% of your property tax bill, potentially eliminated with one form. Most people don't realize that property taxes are not one single tax. They are a combination of levies, in school district taxes, county taxes, municipal taxes, special district taxes. Many exemption programs target specific portions of that bill, and some of those portions are enormous. But here's the part that surprises people most. In the majority of states, this exemption is not automatic. Turning 65 does not trigger it. Owning your home for 40 years does not trigger it. Having a modest income does not trigger it. You have to apply, manually, on purpose, by a deadline. And once you apply, in most states, you have to renew it. Some states require annual renewal. Others require it every few years. If you miss the renewal, your exemption quietly disappears, and your tax bill quietly goes back up, without any notice or warning from the county. This is where people lose money without ever knowing why their bill suddenly jumped. There is also a lesser-known component that very few seniors have ever explored. It is called the Property Tax Deferral Program. It exists in over 20 states, and it allows qualifying seniors to literally postpone paying their property taxes legally until the home is sold or transferred. The deferred amount becomes a lien on the property, but no payment is required while you are living there. For seniors in a serious cash flow squeeze, this program can be the difference between staying in a home and being forced to leave it, and almost nobody knows it exists. The truth is, the homestead exemption application and the related programs that come with it represent one of the most powerful and underused financial tools available to senior homeowners in America today. It costs nothing to file. It requires no attorney. It does not affect your Social Security. It does not impact your Medicare. It is not considered income. It is simply the government honoring a promise it made to older homeowners decades ago, a promise most seniors have never collected on. Now let's talk about where things go wrong, because even seniors who have heard of these programs, who know something exists, still end up losing money. Not from bad intentions, but from avoidable mistakes that quietly drain their savings year after year. Here are the most common ones. Mistake number 1, assuming it happens automatically. This is the single most costly assumption a senior homeowner can make. Many people believe that when they turn 65, something in the system updated, that their county noticed, that the exemption kicked in on its own. It did not. In nearly every state, the burden of filing is entirely on you. The county assessor's office is not monitoring your birthday. Your mortgage company is not watching your age. Nobody is coming to tell you that you qualify. If you have not physically filed an application, you almost certainly do not have the exemption, and every year you wait is another year of full, unreduced taxes. Mistake number 2, missing the filing deadline. Every county has a cutoff date. In many states, it falls between January and April of the tax year. Some counties set it as early as February 1st. Miss that date, and your application rolls to the following year. What happened next surprised many homeowners who thought they were being proactive. They filed in May, feeling ahead of the game, only to be told the window had already closed 4 months earlier. Mark the deadline on your calendar. Call your county assessor's office and confirm the exact date. Do not guess. Mistake number 3, not renewing on time. Getting the exemption is only half the battle. Keeping it requires attention. Some states grant the exemption permanently once you qualify, but many require annual or biennial renewal. And the renewal notice, if one is sent at all, is often a small postcard that gets mistaken for junk mail or overlooked in a stack of envelopes. Miss the renewal and your exemption expires silently. Your next tax bill arrives higher than expected, and most people assume it is simply another increase. They pay it, they move on, they never realize the exemption lapsed. Check every year. Confirm your exemption status directly with your county assessor. Do not assume continuity. Mistake number 4, believing you earn too much to qualify. This one costs people dearly because it stops them from even trying. Many seniors hear the word exemption and immediately think it is only for people in financial crisis, people far worse off than themselves. They don't want to take something they feel isn't meant for them. But the income thresholds on many of these programs are far more generous than most people expect. In several states, households earning up to $75,000 or even $85,000 annually still qualify for meaningful relief. In some programs, only certain types of income are counted. Social Security may be excluded entirely from the calculation in your state. Do not disqualify yourself before you even look at the requirements. Let the form and the rules make that determination, not your assumptions. Mistake number 5, not checking for multiple programs. Here is something most people never consider. You may qualify for more than one program simultaneously. A standard homestead exemption, a senior freeze on top of that, a school tax exemption layered above both, a veterans exemption if applicable, a disability exemption if relevant. These programs are not always mutually exclusive. In many counties, you can stack multiple exemptions and dramatically reduce your total bill from several different angles at once, but you have to know to ask, and you have to file each one separately. Most seniors who find one program stop looking. The real savings often come from finding 2 or 3. Now let's talk about what you actually do, because information without action is just noise. And you did not watch this far to walk away with nothing but worry. You watched this far because you want to protect what you have built. So here is exactly what to do, step by step, starting today. Step 1, find your county assessor's office. Every property tax exemption in America is administered at the county level. That means your first call is not to the IRS, not to Social Security, not to any federal agency. You are looking for your county assessor, county appraiser, or in some states, the county property appraiser. The name varies slightly by state, but the function is the same. This is the office that determines your home's assessed value and processes your exemption applications. Go to your county's official government website, search for the assessor's office directly, write down the phone number, and then call them. Do not rely solely on websites. Websites go outdated, phone numbers change. A real conversation with a real person in that office will give you the most accurate and current information for your specific situation. Step 2, ask these specific questions. When you call, do not ask vaguely whether any help is available. Ask specifically. Ask whether a senior homestead exemption exists in your county. Ask what the age requirement is. Ask what the income limit is, and exactly which types of income are counted in that calculation. Ask whether Social Security is included or excluded. Ask what the filing deadline is. Ask whether renewal is required and how often. Then ask one more question that most people never think to ask. Ask whether there are any additional exemptions you might qualify for beyond the standard senior exemption. School tax exemptions, freeze programs, deferral options, veterans benefits, disability provisions. Let them tell you everything that exists. Write it all down. Step 3. Gather your documents before you file. Most exemption applications require a small set of standard documents. Having them ready before you sit down to file will save you time and prevent delays. You will typically need proof of age, a driver's license, passport, or birth certificate, proof of primary residence, a utility bill, voter registration card, or your deed, and proof of income, typically your most recent tax return or Social Security award letter. Some counties require additional documentation for specific programs. The assessor's office will tell you exactly what they need. Gather everything before you file so nothing slows you down. Step 4. File as early as possible. Once you have your documents ready, file immediately. Do not wait until the week before the deadline. County offices get backed up, forms get delayed, and if something is missing from your application, you need time to correct it before the window closes. Filing early also gives you a paper trail. Request confirmation that your application was received. If filing by mail, send it certified with return receipt. If filing in person, ask for a stamped copy for your records. Keep that confirmation somewhere safe with your other important financial documents. Step 5. Set a calendar reminder for renewal. The day your exemption is approved, set a reminder for 10 months from that date. Label it clearly: property tax exemption, renewal check. When that reminder fires, call your assessor's office and confirm your exemption is still active and on file. Do this every single year. It takes 5 minutes, and it protects you from the silent lapse that costs so many seniors hundreds of dollars without warning. Step 6. Tell someone you love. If you have a sibling, a neighbor, a friend, or a fellow retiree who owns their home, tell them what you learned today. This information does not spread through official channels. It spreads person to person. The senior who tells their neighbor, the daughter who tells her mother, the husband who mentions it to his brother-in-law at Sunday dinner. That is how people who deserve this relief actually find it. You now know something that most senior homeowners do not. Pass it on. Let's take a moment to think about what this really means. You did not stumble onto this video by accident. Something brought you here. Maybe it was a property tax bill that felt heavier than it should. Maybe it was the quiet anxiety of watching your fixed income stretch thinner every year while costs keep climbing. Maybe it was simply the feeling that the system was not working in your favor, and the hope that somewhere, somehow, there was something you were missing. There was, and now you know what it is. Here is what I want you to understand above everything else said in this video today. You earned this. Every exemption, every freeze program, every deferral option, every reduction available to senior homeowners, none of it is charity. None of it is a handout. It is a legal recognition of something that was always true. You built something, you stayed. You paid your taxes faithfully year after year through recessions and recoveries, through hard years and good ones. You maintained your home and your community and your commitment. And the law in all 50 states says that at this stage of your life, you deserve protection. The tragedy is not that the programs don't exist. They do. The tragedy is that millions of seniors are paying more than the law requires them to pay simply because nobody made sure they knew. That changes today, at least for you. One phone call to your county assessor's office could start the process that reduces your property tax bill this year. One form, filed before the deadline, could save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars annually for the rest of the time you live in your home. Over 10 years, over 15 years, that adds up to real money. Money that belongs in your life, not sitting unclaimed in a county account. Think about what that money means. It is a prescription covered without choosing between it and groceries. It is a grandchild's birthday gift you didn't have to hesitate over. It is a small repair handled without stress. It is the quiet dignity of knowing you are not paying more than you owe. That dignity matters. Your financial security matters. Your ability to stay in the home you love, in the community you built, on your own terms, that matters deeply. Do not let another year pass without taking this step. If this video helped you today, if it opened a door you didn't know was there, please take 3 seconds right now and hit the like button. It costs you nothing and it tells us that content like this is worth making. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We cover exactly these kinds of topics: the benefits, the programs, the legal protections, and the financial strategies that exist specifically for seniors and retirees, and that most people never hear about until it's too late or until they find us. And leave a comment below. Tell us what state you are in. Tell us if you already have your homestead exemption, or if today was the first time you heard about it. Your comment might be the thing that reminds another viewer to take action. It might be the nudge that saves someone else thousands of dollars. Share this video with someone who needs it: a friend, a neighbor, a parent, a sibling, someone who owns their home and is over 65 and has never once been told this form exists. You found this information. Now make sure it finds them too, because this is how seniors protect themselves in a system that rarely sends a reminder. Not by waiting, not by hoping someone official will reach out, but by staying informed, staying connected, and looking out for one another. That is what this channel is here for, and that is exactly what you just did for yourself today. Now go make that phone call, file that form, and keep every dollar the law says belongs to you.